Because if we go back to little Tori that was in first grade, had to repeat the first grade over, that was shy. I want you to tell us about that, Tori.
As you mentioned, I did repeat first grade because that's when I was first diagnosed.
Okay.
And as you start to go through elementary school into middle school,
Yes.
that's where it got more challenging, or where I became more aware that, like, oh my gosh, this is just like a beating.
An accomplished wife, mother, painter teacher Tori Pendergrass studied at the Chicago Art Institute and received a Bachelor of Fine Art from Kansas City Art Institute.
So you said that as you got older, things you kind of took a beating and things like that. So kind of talk about that. When did you really kind of realize the severity? Okay, like I had to repeat the grade, first grade over.
You know, seeing the F on your math test, English composition, whatever, it's just really hard after a while. It's like keep going. The I think I can kind of little engine that could.
Tori owns 2 art studios teaching children and adults courses in drawing, painting, ceramics, and collage.
You're so smart, you're talented, you're confident. What would you say to little Tori that's in the first grade?
Right. That's a really tricky situation because... All right, are we ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Miss Tori.
Yes.
So the thing that I like to do is on every podcast, I like to start off with an exercise, a fun exercise,
Okay.
tailored to the person that is on the podcast. And what I like to do is, and by the way, if you are hearing those noises, Tori, she has birds in her art studio, so that's what you're hearing. But so what I like to do is I like to show the world how your brilliant dyslexic mind processes and breaks down information. So there are no wrong answers. When I show you this picture, I just want you to just tell me anything you want to share, what emotion you see, technical terms, non-technical terms, just allow yourself to just have it.
Okay.
Just the picture.
Okay. All right. Well, so my question would be like, I would throw it back to you.
Okay.
Of like, where did we get this, or where did this come from?
This came from not Etsy, but Canva. Not Canva. It's one of those apps.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you make it?
No.
Oh, somebody else did.
Yes.
It's fun and whimsical, and
Okay.
it kind of looks like a painting, but not exactly.
Okay.
And I like it.
Okay.
It's happy.
Okay.
Actually, it looks a little bit like my dress.
Yeah, it is. It is. Okay.
I don't know. That's what comes to my mind right now.
Okay. Okay. Anything else you see?
I mean, there's the obvious. It's a garden, it's nature.
Okay.
Super happy, bright. But I don't see it like as an abstraction of something else.
See, that's what I see. Keep going into that. Keep
Like,
going into that.
Sometimes something like this, like, oh, there's a secret car hidden in the background. I'm not seeing that right now.
Okay.
Or any hidden secret, like animals. To me, this looks like garden, nature,
Okay.
with some fun geometric shapes in the background.
See, that's why I like the technical terms that you're bringing up, geometric terms, stuff like that. Okay. So the reason why I had you do that is because I always have my guests, whether they are dyslexic, ADHD, autistic, to just share their superpower, and to also show how confident you are and sure about yourself. Because if we go back to little Tori that was in first grade, had to repeat the first grade over, that was shy. I want you to tell us about that, Tori. Just talk about that age and stage of your life.
Right. So as you mentioned, I did repeat first grade because that's when I was first diagnosed.
Okay.
And had support at school
Okay.
where I had different it's called language diagnosticians come in.
I always mess that. I messed that up too.
And they would, went to pull me aside, or sometimes I think I do it on the weekends and things like that. You had asked before, like, if I ever felt self-conscious about that.
Yeah.
At that time, no.
Okay.
My teacher, Miss Levering, she was this most amazing woman ever.
Okay.
She just was so kind and loving, and just wanted to, she just like was full of love. So she kind of would give me special, like, oh, you know, you can be the special helper, like pass out things, like what you do in a classroom.
Right.
But I never felt sad about seeing my friends move on to the next grade.
Okay.
I guess I could have. It was more always framed to me of like, look, you get to meet new friends.
Right.
And that's a fabulous new thing. And, you know, when you're little, it's easier to make friends. I think it's easier to make friends.
Yes.
And so I did. And then, but in that, like, that part was good.
Okay.
And as you start to go through elementary school into middle school,
Yes.
that's where it got more challenging, or where I became more aware that, like, oh my gosh, this is just like a beating. Although I did say in second grade, that's when they started doing like time multiplication tests.
Oh, I hate those.
Oh my goodness, and that was not my gift.
You know what? To dovetail off what you're saying, time test. I told my wife this recently. It's like, as I do this podcast, just things, I unearth more things. So what you saying, taking time tests. I don't know if you ever did this, but I used to do this sometimes. We would take a time test, and you know, everybody's writing, and then you got to flip it over, and maybe you go to the next page. I would intentionally sometimes just mark down answers and flip my page over.
To make it look like you're with everyone.
Because I didn't want to be the last person.
Totally, yeah. Yeah. I know that trick. I know that trick.
Tori, when you were younger and in school and life felt hard, what do you wish teachers understood more about how your brain works?
I must say, in college though,
Okay.
and when there was a drawing teacher.
Okay.
But it wasn't an academic thing. It was not the right fit for me.
Okay.
And she saw, but this is a great life lesson too, is like, if you're not in the right setting, whatever that setting might be, a classroom, a relationship, or whatever, let's find something different. So for me, I switched schools.
Okay.
And she saw that I was struggling, and so I switched schools completely. Still in art school,
Okay.
but a very different setting, and it just made a difference.
Okay. So you said that as you got older, things you kind of took a beating and things like that. So kind of talk about that. When did you really kind of realize the severity? Okay, like I had to repeat the first grade over, and my reading sucks, and just talk about that.
In middle school, so then, you know, middle school, that's when you start getting like letter grades and number
Okay.
grades, things like that, at least in my school.
Right.
And that, when you get a big old F on your report card, you know that's bad.
Right.
And it's hard to spin that in a good way.
Right.
Although it was more my tutor that
Okay.
I had mentioned before. Her name's Linda Sharp, or was Linda Sharp, and she was fabulous. And she would do the thing like, oh, you know, Albert Einstein and blah blah, you know, all these other very accomplished historical figures.
Right.
Also had dyslexia.
Right.
And she'd try and give me confidence that way. But you know, seeing an F on your math test, English composition, whatever, it's just really hard after a while. I never felt that like bully, shall you say, from like friends or peers. That everybody everybody was doing their own thing.
Right.
And nobody really cared. Like, yeah, you know, whatever. She's
Right.
doing her thing.
Right.
I'm acing it over here. I got my A's, and like,
Right.
Fooey on her, and they've become, you know, amazing people too. Anyway, and I don't remember what grade it was, but my parents wanted me to switch schools.
Okay.
That might have been in high school. To a learning different school.
Okay.
And they put it very positively. It wasn't far away. It was still, kind of in the neighborhood.
Right.
But I didn't want to. I'd been with these, in my school, like you would go like basically
Right.
for 14 years.
Right.
All the way through. And I'd been with these girls for forever. And I was like, no, I don't believe them. And it was a lovely place. I knew the setting was lovely. And I was like, I don't want to leave. And so even though in retrospect, like, would that have been a better choice? No, like I know the schools are great now and it serves a lot of people well. For me, I wanted to struggle through. And so I just powered down.
Okay.
And, or powered through, I should say.
Right.
And it's, it all worked out.
Okay. Okay. So, how we talked about, like, you brought up time tests.
Yes.
Another thing with us dyslexics is, like, when the teacher say, all right, we're going to go around the room and we're going to read X amount of paragraphs. Like, my worst was, like, when the teacher would say, you're going to read until I tell you to stop. So I would try to figure out what direction we were going, and I would try to count until it got to me, and I would try to read ahead so that I wouldn't embarrass myself too bad. Can you remember any moments in school where you had to do that?
Yeah,
Sure.
in English class, when we had to do very similar thing. I don't know why they make people do that. That's just horrible. And I really don't know if it helps maybe it makes people pay attention in class, but I'm like, is it really? It's probably, for us, it was nerve-wracking.
Yes.
For the general public, the other people out there, I don't know how it affects them, but oh boy. Yeah, like heart palpitations, freaking out inside.
Yes.
But just stammering through it, shaking like a leaf, and then finally the teacher would have mercy on me and be like, okay, next.
Oh, right.
And it was horrible. And did I have any awareness of actually what I was reading? No.
Exactly.
No idea what it was.
Exactly.
I just trying to get those words and syllables out as best I could. And that was horrible and terrifying. And it happened many times, but usually Miss Saxon's English class in high school.
You still remember her?
I remember her classroom where I would be sitting because they had assigned seats.
Yes.
And totally remember it. Like, it is ingrained in my brain.
You kind of hinted at this, but do you think teachers are really realizing what they're doing when they?
I don't know. Like, I don't know if they do that now. Like, that would be a good thing to ask. If that's still a common practice. I don't think they would do it intentionally to cause havoc, but boy, it sure happens that way for some people, I think. And even just like the regular, like, shy people.
Exactly.
That feel nervous, or the a little bit socially awkward people, because
Right.
there's plenty of those people out there too that
Right.
don't have learning differences. They're just a little bit more quiet. Boy, I know it's hard for them too.
There is a guy that's dyslexic. I can't think of his name, but he's an actor, and he said it. I think he said it best. It's really not a problem of the teacher doing it, but it's a problem when the teacher doesn't notice that the person that's reading is struggling. Because he had a situation where the teacher kept having him read, and he said she never sat me down. He just kept stumbling over words, and the teacher wasn't present to realize that, hey, something else is going on here.
Right.
Okay, so you're struggling in reading in school, but we finally enough doom and gloom for now. Let's get to something good. You finally start to see some light at the end of the tunnel, and you approach this subject in school called geometry. And you have a breakthrough. You're getting good grades. What is it about geometry, spaces, angles, shapes, that really resonated with you and just allows you to, I don't know, get good grades in it and do well in that subject?
Right. So usually in math, abysmal grades, horrible.
Yes.
But in high school, once geometry came around, I thrived in that class.
That's amazing.
Because I could see it and it made sense to me.
Okay.
And thus the whole artistic thing. And I had always been artistic ever since, like, I was a little one.
Okay.
But I didn't nobody really talked about geometry until much later. And then it just kind of all clicked and it made sense. And whereas some of my other friends might have struggled a little bit more in that class, it's like, oh no, we're good. That class I did well in, and then creative writing.
Okay.
I told you about that too, when we had to write our college essay
Okay.
to like a kind of a creative writing thing about your personal statement piece, I think that's what it's called. And I did really well, and I got an A in it.
Okay.
That was the first A I'd
Okay.
ever gotten in
Okay.
English class. And was so happy. I was like, wow, I didn't even know that you could I didn't know creative writing was a thing.
Okay.
That you get to tell your story. It was, in my case, it was a personal story, but a made up story. I didn't even know that was an option.
Yes.
And so that was fabulous.
Okay.
And it sparked of like, oh, maybe I can do things.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, I always got good grades in art classes. I always got A's in that, and I loved it. Like, it was my happy place.
Okay.
But to actually get good grades in other subjects too, even though I was getting all this support and I had
Right.
tutors all the time, we just powered through and just got it as best we could. And I knew the school that I was in was academically very rigorous,
Right.
compared to some other spots. But I had, and this is I don't know, like I talk about this with my husband, like the grit.
Yes.
That's a big tag word these
Yeah,
days.
yeah,
Of
yeah.
like, how does one develop grit in a child, in a human? And it wasn't because, I don't know, like it just came to me. I was like, I just have to figure it out. I
Yeah.
want to do it.
Yes.
My mother was probably also dyslexic, although in her day, it wasn't a
really-
thing. People
yeah,
got diagnosed
right.
with that. My father was an attorney, and so he was obviously very book smart and
Yes.
could read and,
Yes. Yes.
do all that stuff. And so it wasn't like they never were like negative or berated me of, they knew I was trying. They knew
Right.
that my father just didn't get it. He's like, why isn't she doing better in school?
Right.
But luckily we could have tutors, and we did have
Right.
extra support
Right.
because that takes time, money, effort,
Yes.
all the stuff. And luckily I just had that support team of various tutors throughout, over the ages.
Okay.
And
Do you find it that when you got to geometry, did geometry in any way, did it help like your drawing and your painting? Did you feel that it kind of opened you up to seeing things differently, or in any way did?
that's a good question. Not at that time.
Okay.
Later down the road, when I learned about 1-point perspective, which is basically what
Okay.
that is, then it came so easy to me. And
Okay.
even now, as I try to teach people 1-point perspective, even when I try and teach adults that,
Mhm.
people just don't see it. Like, they don't get it. And I'm like, it's math. There's a formula to it. It's like in art,
Yeah.
there's just, there isn't a right or a wrong. Well, in perspective, there is, because it's math. And
Okay.
there is, like,
Okay.
that, I guess that's why some people love math so much, because there is an answer that you just have to find it.
Yes.
With 1-point perspective, there is a proper way to do it.
Okay.
And I could just see it. And I never really struggled
Wow,
with that
that's
so
amazing.
much. But I didn't learn that until
Later on.
way
on.
later. Yeah.
Okay. Our dads come from an era, I call it the 2P era, or 2P formula, provide and protect. Your dad, as you already mentioned, your dad, he provided for you and made sure you had tutors and all the different things like that. But my wife and I were approaching our 15 years of being married, and what I've learned is men should have a 3P formula: provide, protect, and pay attention. So we spoke prior to this podcast, and you told me, about your dad and how, emotionally he wasn't really available. Do you wish that, at least when you were younger, do you wish that your dad was more emotionally available for you and everything that you were dealing with?
Right. It would have been nice to, now that he's been passed away like 25 years approximately. It would have been nicer to like know him as a human.
Yes.
Like a real human. Like
Right,
it's like
right.
let's have a real conversation as opposed to nuts and bolts kind of
Yeah.
thing. Because I have questions. So like, was it a generational thing?
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't say this part before, but so
Okay.
he had a substance abuse
Okay.
issue,
Okay.
which prevents people from connecting.
Okay.
And that I think had been going on for a real long time.
Right.
And so that is just who he was.
Mm-hmm.
And I recognized that from an early age that that wasn't in his wheelhouse.
Right.
And, he tried to get help from it. And alcohol is a powerful
Yes.
substance. And I know it takes a lot of people down.
Right.
And so there was a rocky road, shall we say.
Right.
And I was lucky enough to see that was like, ooh, I don't want any of that.
Right.
Like, that
Right.
causes problems.
Right.
And so, like, yes, of course. Like, I want a connection of some sort. It didn't happen. But, I looked out for myself. Like, I don't think I said this part. So I moved out of my house when I was in high school because it was bad.
Wow.
And luckily had a great friend, and I moved in with them. And they were like super supportive of
Okay.
me. And even my school that I was at, they're like, you can come and stay here. You can make
Okay.
a boarding department too.
Okay.
And they're like, you can come and live
Okay.
on campus.
Okay.
And like, no charge. Like, we'll just let
Okay.
you live here if you need a place to be. And I was like, wow, thank you.
Okay.
That's a great
Okay.
offer.
Okay.
No thanks. Like, I'm going to say no thank you. But I went to the school because I wanted to be like totally above board.
Right.
And so I told them, I was like, here's what's happening. I'm moving out of my house.
Okay.
With my family calls.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah. This is
Right.
what's happening.
Right.
And so, but I went and stayed with the family, and I stayed there for, I don't know, several months.
Okay.
And they were so kind and generous. They're like, we don't have that much, but we'll pay for you to go to college.
Wow.
And I was just
Amazing.
like, wow, thank you so much for that. Like, that's too much. Like, I can't
Yeah,
do that.
right.
And so at that time, the parents pulled the purse strings of like, if you don't come back, we're not going to pay for college. And I knew that college was
Yes.
an important route that I
Yes.
needed to do. So I was like, okay, I'll just put my head down.
Right.
And I'll just figure it out,
Okay.
and I'll then like, let's just get to the
Right.
finish line, which is approaching.
Right.
So I was like, well, let's get to college. And luckily that, pacified them.
Yes.
And so they paid for my college, which is great.
Okay.
And so I didn't have any debt or,
That's
which is
amazing. Yes.
I know that college debt that
Yes.
people complain about is debilitating for a lot of people. And so, I got to go to college and learn so much. And then that gave me,
All
where
this.
we are
Yes.
here today.
Yes.
And so that is a huge debt or a huge gift
Yes.
that I was given.
Yeah.
And, I was given a lot of other gifts too,
Yeah.
but that's a huge one. And between like the grit and whatnot, then it's a good thing.
So one of the reasons I asked about your dad is because being dyslexic and being a child, growing up, you need a support system. And I even remember the story you told me about how, or just instances where you'll be writing a paper.
Right.
And you go ahead, you tell it. Go ahead, cause
So if I didn't know how to spell something, because we didn't have spell check back then, and you had, I had to handwrite everything. We didn't type. And he's like, oh, and I'd say, like, how do we look up, whatever, encyclopedia or some crazy word, or maybe it wasn't such a crazy word. And he'd be like, oh, well, you just go look it up in the dictionary. Well, usually it was something crazy where I didn't even know the first letter. Like it was, had the silent PH or something like that. And so I'd spend, 30 minutes, and by then I'd be in tears. And I'm like, I have no idea how to do this. And then I didn't want to give up.
Right.
Because, that grit.
Yeah, and the grit.
So, and eventually I've looked and I've looked and look, it's not under the F, you know, and he's like, well, of course it's not. It's over here in the PH.
Right.
And I was like, well, how was I supposed to know that? Oh my gosh.
Exactly.
So, yeah, things like that.
Yeah, so that's why I asked, because, you know, it's obviously it's important to have a support system if you can. But it was good to see that even though it didn't come from your dad, opportunity still opened up for that family that, you know, brought you in. So I'm gonna list out some adjectives of a person that helps you through your dyslexia journey. And after I list out the adjectives, I want you to tell me who this person is. Biggest support system, biggest cheerleader, biggest advocate. So much so, she advocated you so much so, the second time you took your SAT test, you were the first person to take it on time. Audible, it was audible.
Right, it was read to me.
And you got like your score went up like 200 points. Who am I talking about?
So that's Linda Sharp.
Okay.
She still practices here in the Dallas area. I think she's maybe in Plano now, but still nearby.
Okay.
And she worked with me for years and years and years. And she did demand basically that I was given that SAT test, and she actually also collects my artwork.
Okay.
In college, and even, well, she hasn't bought a piece in a while, but still, she did for a long time. And she became kind of a family member because she was at our house so often that, you know, mother would bring up snacks to us because we'd be up there for ages, and it's like approaching dinner hour, and both of our tummies are totally grumbling, and she's like, here's cheese and crackers, and here's some apple slices, and which was really kind of my mom. But you know, Linda just became part of the family, and perhaps she helped instill a bit of that grit.
Okay.
I'm sure. I think I know that I go back and forth. Is grit learned or is grit inherent? I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah.
I think it kind of goes together.
A combination of both. Yeah.
I think it has to go, like, maybe that seed is there, and then it has to be like pushed down the road a little bit. And she definitely did that, because my parents, both of them, they didn't know how to help.
Yeah.
You know, because mother just was, you know, she brought snacks.
Yeah.
She was good at that, and which is nice.
Yes.
And it's good, but she just didn't know. She couldn't help me, like, academically, and she was like, I don't know. But yeah, I think Linda helped push me down the road a little bit.
And you said she kind of came around in middle school?
Probably so, I think so.
What do you think your dyslexia journey would have been like had Miss Linda not come along?
Oh. Well, I mean, I did have other great tutors as well. But I don't know. Like, I really, like, probably not, we wouldn't be here. Well, I don't know. Because she brought the awareness of all these, like, famous people, like Einstein and countless others. Maybe, well, anyway, countless others. And that gave me hope.
Gotcha. Okay.
I gets the hope.
Okay. You really got to see further than
just the here and now in high school.
Right.
You know, it's that whole teenage of like, oh my God, the sky is falling. It's horrible.
Right.
And be like, no, you can do great things later on.
Right.
And she's a great advocate for the dyslexic community too. I don't know if you've reached out to her. You should. And she should.
Okay.
Because she was president of the Dyslexic Association here in Dallas for a time, and so yeah.
Okay. Tori, did art become proof that you were intelligent?
Wow, that's a good question. I'm sure, like right now, I that feels so far away from where I am now. But I'm sure when I was in the thick of the academic years, I you know, it's natural to get down on yourself.
Right.
And I'm sure I did. Again, you know, I had that great cheerleader. So she, even though she was like, oh, you're great, you can do fabulous things. there's, in the quiet moments of the night, you're like, oh, all right, I can't do it. While not all of my artwork is telling a narrative story, a lot of it is. This isn't necessarily like a narrative piece.
Okay.
But it is the physicality of the art making creates, you can get in your like zone of time and space. It doesn't exist anymore. It's like that whole idea of like a runner's high.
Gotcha.
That like you're just in the zone.
Okay, let's keep things moving right along. There's a quote in the personal development world that says, "Success leaves clues." But I'm also aware that failure, quote unquote, failure leaves clues. I'll tie this back in a little later. I want you to tell the viewers that are watching and people that are listening, tell us about your situation at Subway.
So one of my first jobs was at Subway sandwich store.
Eat fresh.
Yes, exactly. So in college, my freshman year in college, I went to Subway because it's a tiny little town. It was one of the only restaurants, and I was like, this place is great. And so when I came back for the summer, I went into work there. And actually just down the street was actually the location, which is kind of crazy. It's not there anymore.
Okay, I was going to ask you that.
And so it seemed to be going well, but I was taken off the sandwich line because I took too much time making the sandwiches because I wanted them to look pretty.
Yes,
and
you're an artist.
Exactly. And it needs to be evenly distributed, all the pickles and every bite, and even, a big old blob of mustard, whatnot. Anyway, so they're like, you're taking too much time, so we're going to move you to the cash register. Okay. And so I already knew that this was a bad choice, but whatever.
Right.
That's what they told me to do. So I did it. And so then, a few days of that went by, and they had no video cameras and whatnot. And they are like, okay, you can't be on the cash register anymore because we're losing money, and we know you're not stealing it, but it's coming up short every time. I was like, yeah, I know, I can't count. I could have told you that. And so and then at the checkout, like every day, I hope they don't make this employees do this anymore, but you had to like take inventory of like how many tomatoes you have and how many slices of bread that you have. So much counting.
Yes.
So much counting. And when you clocked in and when you clocked out. And I was like, this is ridiculous. It takes forever. And I would just I'd give up. And I didn't have grit at that moment in time. Because I was like, this is stupid. Like, what? No, this is a total waste of time. Anyway, so there was one of the managers. I was like, can you just please do it for me? And they saw my struggle, and they did. So, yeah, I knew that was not a gift. And so it informed me so much that now, in my business now, I don't deal with money. And so it's all done through the computer or in other people's hands. Because that is not my strong suit. And so, yeah.
So it's a lot to unpack in that situation, and the reason why I said failure leaves clues, failure is because you were fired from that job. But that's not failure, because for one thing is you said it let you know your gift, and you knew that wasn't it. I want to ask you, in any way during that time, did that Subway situation reinforce that, yes, I'm an artist, I'm not supposed to be doing this? I mean, no shade to anybody that's doing this, but so did that what did that situation do for you?
Right. Well, I was in college. It was a summer job. So those are, for a lot of people, just seen as temporary little things. And it was great for that. And I thought it was actually going to be better, but it wasn't.
Right.
But I didn't let it get me down, shall we say.
Right.
I just knew that we're not doing that next time.
Right.
And after that, the following summer, I had a fabulous job and didn't do it with money. I taught horseback riding in the mountains of New Mexico.
Nice.
Fabulous.
Yes.
I mean, that's heaven. It's pretty dreamy. Yes. And then after that, I worked for a woman as an apprentice in her mural business. So then I just really, I was like, yes, this is where I need to be. And then it just kind of bloomed from there.
See, once again, that's another lesson in that situation. Failure. I'm coming to understand more and more. We should be appreciative of the doors that don't open, the doors that are closed. Because had you not got fired from Subway, who knows if those other opportunities wouldn't have came up? Because some people, they were like, okay, you could become store manager, and you could become a franchisee. That could have been appeasing to you.
Right.
But the fact that you got fired is like, okay, now it's redirection to something else.
Right.
Okay. College professor.
Oh, yes.
So when you're in college, you had an art professor that you affectionately said was a jerk.
I might have used a stronger word
No,
than that.
yeah. But the things that you told me, like for example, he would give assignments and he would have you redo them and not give clear direction amongst other things. We're sitting here at Kid Art, I'm sorry.
Yes.
One of 2 art studios that you own.
Right.
Take that, art professor. You have a mission statement in Kid Art, and I want to read this, and this is going to tie into the question. Our goal is to give your children the opportunity to realize their potential as a creative human being in a safe, supportive, and fun environment. Safe, supportive, and fun environment. That was the opposite of what you received. So I want you to talk about, did your art professor, did that help craft your teaching style, your empathy, your sympathy, and how you teach? Just talk about that.
He was so dreadful. And I'd come home, and I knew how to advocate for myself.
Yes.
I asked for help because Linda, from before,
yes,
she go in after class, go ask for extra help. I did that. I knew how to do that. And he would just not. He's like, no, you have to go figure it out yourself. And okay, maybe once or twice.
Right.
All right.
Right.
I get that. But time and time again. And I'm like, no, I'm needing help. And I'm in tears. And it's horrible. And just not giving me even just a little inkling of like, maybe this direction's what you need to do.
Right.
And anyway, I was only in that college for 1 year because that college actually didn't even have an art department. I had to go to the neighboring college down the street where that professor taught. And so he was so dreadful that I always say that, I don't know if it's directly, but I wanted to kind of right his wrongs.
Yes.
And so thus the mission statement of like, he was so dreadful and made me feel so bad, and not confident, no help, no guidance. That I was like, it doesn't have to be that way.
Right.
Really, it doesn't.
Right.
You're just a stodgy old man. Or it's horrible. And it's like a design 101 class. I'm like, really? Like
super basic stuff.
Yeah, so I'm like, this is not rocket science. I know it's not. And we were actually drawing portraits. That was the assignment.
Okay.
And I tried to do portraits every which way, and none of them were pleasing to him. And anyway, so I wanted to be, when I became a teacher, the polar opposite of still, provide a challenge.
Right.
But like, if somebody's struggling, let's just give them a little leg up here and there. And hopefully that's what I do.
Okay. Now, you've gotten ahead of me on a couple of my questions, and you've gotten ahead of me. You've already talked about grit, and that's my next question. Prior to this podcast, we had a conversation and talked about grit, and you specifically said that because we were talking about the fact that you own 2 art studios. Do you think that grit came from all the struggles of being dyslexic and having to work so much harder than everybody else? Because I told you about Ginger Curtis, interior designer. She's dyslexic. I told her, I feel like as dyslexics, we have 1 skate and everybody else has 2 skates, and we're just trying to keep up. The struggles of dyslexia, especially early on, what do you feel like that instilled inside of you? Grit.
Well,
Obviously.
yes. Definitely the grit, the creative thinking.
Okay.
And to have, which this might be jumping ahead again, the infrastructure.
Yeah.
The support team.
Yeah.
To help you with you know you're like you can't read so well, you can't do the math so well, so you get people to help you with
Yes.
that. And even very early on when I first started my my businesses, I don't do it anymore
Okay.
with my brochures, but I would do a description, like a 2 to 3 sentence description, just of like, this class we're doing XYZ, whatever it is. And I would have my English teacher friends help me with that, because I'm like, I am not a wordsmith. I need people to help me with that.
Yes.
And my husband would help sometimes, but I don't know, I think it's a little bit too close. So I would have extra like friends.
Okay.
And then as I grow, so then I have, and they just do it as a favor.
Okay.
Because it comes easy to them. And just asking for help when you need it, finding those people that comes easy to them.
Yes.
And they support you, and they're easy, and they're glad to do it, because
Okay.
it's like nothing to them. For us, it's just like hours of agony.
Yes.
And then for them, we're like, okay, 20 minutes, then I'm done.
Yeah,
There
because
you go.
I told you about my wife earlier. She handles a lot of the back end stuff, like stuff that it would take me. I would have to watch YouTube videos. I mean, use ChatGPT, all the different things, and she was like, "Oh, just give it to me. I'll do it. It's done." Tori,
And not to be ashamed of that, too.
yeah. Oh no, I'm not ashamed.
Well, I know, but I think some people might feel like embarrassed, like, I can't do it myself. No, it's using the village. It
Yes,
takes the village
yes.
to make the village run. Let's use that village.
Well, there is a statistic that states that about 45% of self-made millionaires are dyslexics.
Interesting.
Why? It's because we don't have a problem delegating.
House or for
Yes,
extra
we
help.
don't have a problem delegating.
Interesting.
Where a lot of people, I want to do this. Nobody can do this better than me. No, here, please.
Yeah.
And then too, you add more value to the business, because as you already stated, you're getting more people. You get people that's more talented in those things, and they can take it further and faster than you could anyway.
Totally. Yeah.
Color theory is like a foundational art skill centered around how colors interact, mix, and evoke emotion. What I want you to do is imagine all the things that we talked about, like repeating in the first grade, the subway season, Miss Linda, all these different turns, and imagine they were all colors. What would you paint and why?
That's a good one. In theory, like if I was to put all that together, I think I enjoy the abstract paintings.
Okay.
Because, and I think it goes to your point, because there's so much, there's the big sweeping broad strokes, like physically that you can do, but it also goes with the freedom and the happy good times.
Okay.
And then there's nitpicky detail, small brushwork that can also come with struggling through, climbing up that mountain, the mount test or whatever it might be. So I think maybe a big abstract, probably with I'm personally drawn to greens and blues. I guess personally those kind of colors. They just make me feel good, but I don't know if they necessarily, for me, bring on a certain meaning per se.
Tori, we sit here in, once again, one of your 2 art studios that you own. You had to repeat the first grade over, struggling with reading, struggling with support system, just all the different things that you've gone through in your life. We sit here now, you're confident, you picked apart the picture, you're so smart, you're talented, you're confident. What would you say to little Tori that's in the first grade?
Right. there's a light at the end of the tunnel. It gets better. Don't worry. It's all going to work out. Because especially at that age, I was so painful. Like okay, there's the dyslexic piece, but there's also the painfully shy piece.
Yes.
And like, why are some kids shy and some kids not?
Right.
That's a mystery to me. I don't know. I think that's just you're born that way kind of thing. I was really, really shy.
Okay.
That I think I overcame with just age and time.
Okay.
I think being a parent helps you overcome that. I have one daughter.
Okay.
I think, because I remember when I started my first art school, Pigment, I didn't have a child yet.
Okay.
And I was so nervous about like talking to these parents, and even though I'd been teaching for a long time,
Right.
I hadn't really had to deal with. I hadn't been that. I wasn't the boss, I was just a teacher,
Right.
and somebody else dealt with it
Right.
between the parents. And so and if there was like a conflict, if there was a money issue, oh my gosh, I was so scared. And then something about having kids, it's just, you're like, whatever, I got
Right,
this, we're
right.
good. It made it a lot easier. Now,
Okay.
of course, there's still struggles, and it's more like a struggle. I'm
Yes.
not fearful of it like
Okay.
I was
Right.
before.
Right.
It's more just a inconvenience.
Okay. Okay. Tori, to other dyslexics that will be watching, people that have ADHD, autistic, and just in general, because we all have a chip on our shoulder. It's just that our chip is dyslexia,
Right?
at least one of our chips. Speak to people. Well, first of all, I want you to speak to people that may be in a subway situation,
Right.
season in their life, where they're at this job, they're at this career, where they know they don't belong. They see themselves further than where they are. Just like Miss Linda, she would tell you about people, Albert Einstein, different people that were dyslexic. Speak to the people that are in subway seasons of their life, where
It's a great way to describe it.
where they know that they're more than where they are.
That's a really tricky situation, because it does, like, hopefully you have the idea or you have the direction, because I think most people do. If it's like that hobby that they keep, in their, spare bedroom or
Right.
the closet or whatever, like if that's what the dream that they want to follow, it's so funny. Right before this, I was watching a thing an article on the Today Show, and they were talking about a woman. Now, I don't know if she was dyslexic, but she was in the subway season of her life,
Okay.
too. And she had $7,000 and an idea. And so it wasn't a huge amount of money. It was
Right.
a chunk, though.
Yes.
But now she's like, she makes hair clips now. And
Okay.
she's like hugely, she's on the Today Show. Like,
Yes.
she's hugely successful, making buckets of money. But she had an idea, and she just wouldn't give up. And they were describing and she had a lot of setbacks. She had a serious illness, and she had a fire in her house, and she had, all these things, and she didn't give up. It's just like, keep going. I think I can kind of
Yes.
little engine that could. And how do you support that? I would guess you need the Lindas in your life to surround yourself with people, maybe if they can't help you monetarily, but they can help you oh yeah,
Okay.
make that phone call.
Right.
Let's if just, the good vibes, so to speak. It's not anybody who brings you down or oh, that's a horrible idea.
Right.
Although you do need a reality check sometimes, but you want people, you need your cheerleaders too. And if you don't have them, you need to go find them.
Well, Tori, thank you so much for being on this podcast. I really appreciate you.
My pleasure. It was fun.